Hello, UCAR. Happy day to you. I was going to say what day it is, but you're not going to be watching this on the same day I'm filming it. So happy blank day to you. So we're going to continue talking about this new time clause addendum and subject to sale addendum. Those have been recently revamped. So this is video number 4 if you're keeping track at home. So, if you find this is helpful, maybe you want to go check out those other videos. We'll have a link to those somewhere you can click on. But today we're really just going to talk about, this is going to be the last video on this for a while, but we're going to talk about the new form. So there is a new form. It's really not complicated, but we're just going to illustrate how to use it. All right, so here's the scenario. Buyer and seller under contract, subject to sale in section 2.2 of the Rep C is marked yes. There's $10,000 earnest money. 8.3B1 has $5,000 at risk. See prior videos if that's something you don't understand. And then there's the addendum of the subject to sale of buyer's property. And then also there's the addendum of the time clause addendum added to this. And in that time clause addendum, in section 1B, you have checklists, due diligence is checked, appraisals checked, finance and subject to sale are checked. So those are all the contingencies that the buyer will agree to remove if seller gets a backup contract. And then in 1.C or 1C of the time clause addendum, there's $2,000 of earnest money. Additional earnest money that the buyer will have to provide. All right, so seller gets a backup offer and the buyer or the seller notifies the buyer of that. Now in the time clause addendum, the one bit of information we didn't mention is the buyer has 2 days to remove the contingencies, to agree to remove the contingencies. So seller notifies buyer, hey, I have a backup offer triggering the time clause addendum. Now, as we talked about last week, buyer has a decision to make. Do I remove these contingencies? Do I go forward? What is my deal looking like selling my own home? Do I feel comfortable removing these? Buyer says, yes, I do. Now, here's where the new form comes in. So the new form is a buyer's notice to seller of removal of conditions. So I'll pop it up. This is probably a bad form for video making, but this is what it looks like. Now, it's super simple. Why is it so simple? Because all you're doing as a buyer is notifying the seller that you agree to remove those contingencies mentioned in the time clause addendum. It's as simple as that. Now, you notice if you go and look at that form in the MLS that there's no addendum number. You know, they all say addendum number and you put the blank, there's a blank, you fill that in. Well, there isn't one on this. Why? Because it's a notice. It's not actually an addendum to the contract. You're not modifying the contract. The time clause addendum does that already. So really, it's just a vehicle to notify seller, hey, I agree to remove those. Because if you notice in the time clause addendum, it says buyer shall provide notice that they agree to remove those contingencies. So, and that's in 1B, right? Within 2 days after receipt of seller's written notice, the buyer agrees to provide written notice to seller of buyer's removal of the following conditions from the Rep C. Check applicable boxes. And that's where we have those 3. All 3 are marked. So really, buyer's giving away all those the rights to all those contingencies. And they do so by notifying the seller with this new form. Simple as that. Pretty easy, right? Just another tool in your toolbox to use with your buyers to help them. So now you don't have to get that call all the time. Well, what notice? Where's the form? Well, there wasn't one. You just had to write up some sort of notification, and now we have a form. So just making your life a little easier, hopefully. And yeah, that's it. We're going to put this one to rest for a while. These new forms. UAR is going to have to come out with some more new forms, so I have something to talk about next week. No, there's plenty to talk about. But hopefully these forms work out for you and they're useful. We have videos. This is, like I said, number 4 in a series on just these 3 forms. So check those out. Check out our library if this is helpful. And we will see you next time.